Hey everyone, welcome to the basement such as it is. I'm Bryan, and this video today is about the 3 things that you can do to get yourself set up for success in this new college term. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you can do to get yourself set up for success in the new term is to just get the book. And now, notice how I didn't say buy the book. Don't do that, because we all know what a scam college bookstores are when it comes to getting books for students. It's just not viable for a lot of people. In one of the classes I'm teaching this term called English 102 Comp and Lit, this book is going for $85 new, which is kind of insane since I just opened it up and it's falling apart right now as we speak, like a page just fell on the floor. 65 used, though I think there will only be like maybe a half dozen across many sections that are used that you can get. I think maybe the best bet for folks right now is to think about renting their books. So renting this new is like 60 bucks, and renting used is like 25 or 27 bucks, which seems like the best deal. You can also definitely look around on Amazon, definitely check out eBay, and for sure even look at the bulletin board at your college as a way to see if there's anyone who's taken the class before who, you know, is a little disenchanted with a buyback price of like say 0 or 5 or 10 bucks on a book they spent $300 on. Students also tell me that they sometimes look around the dark parts of the internet for a book, and I'm not advocating that you do this, but clearly this is where people are given the exasperatingly high prices for books. I would say this too, if you can find an older edition, so I have an older edition of the same book which I found at a local store for like $2, I think you should totally do that. Tell your instructor what's going on, that you have an old version, and let them know. They may say it's a good idea or a bad idea, but for the most part, everything is the same in this particular book as in the new version that I'm using right now. Rent. The second thing you should do once you actually get the textbook is to think about how you can use it differently. Not in a way that you think the instructor might want you to use it. So say, for instance, I give my students like a 30-page reading. I'm not expecting them to read every last word within that page range. What I am expecting them to do, however, is to find the best parts. One of the things that I actively tell my students, like all the time, and they get sick of hearing it, I'm like a broken record, is to preview. And so here's what that means. Before you actually read anything at all, have a look at the structure of the chapter. And what that means is this. Look for bold headings, look for chapter headings, subheadings, anything italic, anything bold. And then maybe check out the illustrations, and then maybe check out the tables and read the descriptions of the tables, and then maybe the pictures, look at those, read the captions for those as well, so you can get just this general sense of what's going on within that particular span of reading. And then when you do start reading, don't read every last paragraph, because not everything is going to make sense to you in terms of what you're actually looking to do at the end. So there's a reason why we assign things as teachers, is that you're going to write a paper or you're going to take a test or do something afterwards. You have to have that in mind as you're moving toward this particular reading. And another tip here too is when you do actually start reading each paragraph, look at the first 5 or 6 or 7 lines. That's the meat and potatoes of every paragraph. Usually what happens after that is some kind of an example that ties into that introductory part of the paragraph. You don't always need to read that. And you don't always need to read the paragraph after that. Maybe it's every other one. It just depends. So all I'm saying here is figure out what you need and then take the best parts. And previewing and selectively reading really helps within that process. And when you come to class, even if you've just previewed things and read very generally, you'll have that leg up on people who haven't done anything, who are sitting in the corner trying to hide, you know, behind their phone, like, I didn't read, so I'm back here. And, you know, they don't want to ever be called on, like, ever, because they don't have the answer. Yeah, don't be that person. Be the person who at least does a little bit before you get to class. The final thing you should do is to go to your professor's office hours. And this is kind of a big deal. Now, I know you're thinking, hey, Bryan, only the hopelessly lost and the front row people who are super hard chargers go to office hours. And that's true, but office hours are generally for everybody. And, well, they're not generally for everybody, they are for everybody. So you should know, by contract, I'm required to be in my office 5 days a week for at least an hour at a time, more or less, 5 hours a week, to help students with their concerns. And often when students come talk to me, it's the best part of my day and the best parts of my week, because I get to hear what's going on the ground level with the course, how people are interacting with content, with their peers, what's working, what's not, and then I can give feedback appropriate to the circumstance. I'll say this as well. Students very often come into my office and say, hey, I know you're busy, it'll just take a minute. And I'm like, yeah, I'm totally busy. I think that to myself, but I'm also there to serve them and support their work. So that's always my first priority. That email, that phone call, whatever, that can wait till later, because that's just something I don't want to do anyway. I'd rather talk to you about your work. Now, your mileage may vary. If you're at a 4-year college and you're in a class with 300 people, office hours might be a different thing. So check the syllabus and see how that works. I know some professors tend to farm out that stuff with teaching assistants. And those are sometimes connected to study groups, but yeah, you should check. But you should totally go to office hours. Teacher like me, I want to spend time figuring out what's going on with you and your work. Hey, thanks for watching through the end of this video. I hope you have a great term and you get the grade that you want and you work for. If you found this video, look, I can't talk. If you found the video valuable in any way, maybe give it one of these, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.